My name is Alara. I'm 33 and I'm a data scientist. 87 in the morning on a Sunday. I woke up in the guest bedroom of my childhood home in Austin to discover that everything I had spent my adult life building had vanished. The $92,000 sitting in my business account, my entire startup seed fund was gone, simply erased. When I confronted my father, Arthur, he didn't even flinch. He shrugged, like I was asking about a misplaced jacket. It was just sitting there, he said. We saw an opportunity. Before I explain what I did next, let me know where you're watching from in the comments. And hit that subscribe button if you've ever had to defend your future from the very people who were supposed to safeguard your past, because this wasn't new. That's the part that hurts the most. The pattern. My father, Arthur, lived permanently inside the outline of his next brilliant scheme. He was magnetic at neighborhood cookouts, full of big ideas and bigger promises, but absolutely incapable of finishing anything he started. And my mother, Brenda, played her role flawlessly. She nodded along, reinforced the fantasy, protected him from consequences. Together, they lived inside whatever story Arthur was telling that week. The first time I remember this clearly, I was 10 years old. My grandfather, my mother's father, had given me a stunning leather-bound astronomy book. Thick pages, star charts, constellations mapped with care. I adored it. It felt like a door to the universe. A week later, it disappeared from my bedroom. I found my father in the garage, leaning against the workbench, cigarette in hand. I just needed to show it to an investor, he said casually, not even turning around. He was very impressed. 2 days later, I found the pawn ticket in his coat pocket. $50. He hadn't shown it to anyone. He'd sold it. He sold my curiosity, my education, my future for $50. And in his mind, it wasn't stealing. It was borrowing from family. I left at 18 with $520 in my bank account and a full scholarship to UT Austin. For the next 15 years, I built a wall. Not an emotional one, a financial one. Brick by careful brick. I worked 3 jobs while earning my master's in data science. I clawed my way up the Austin tech ladder, moving through to startups, absorbing everything. I lived like a broke student while my coworkers bought Teslas and downtown condos. Because that $92,000 sitting in my business account? That wasn't fun money. It wasn't a vacation fund or a house down payment. It was my company. It was the trust of 2 angel investors who had believed in me enough to write the first checks. It was payroll for the 2 junior developers I'd just hired, bright, hopeful kids fresh out of college. It was everything I'd built. My one shot, condensed into a single account. 3 years earlier, I'd drawn a hard line. After I gave them an $8,000 bridge loan for one of Arthur's doomed ventures, a loan I never saw again, I said no more. No more money. No more rescuing. Their reaction was textbook. The monthly calls stopped. Then came the quarterly guilt-laced check-ins. I became the ungrateful daughter. The one who thought she was better than them now. So when the invitation to my mother's extravagant 50th birthday party arrived, I nearly threw it away, but my brother Evan called. Just come, he said. Mom's really excited. Maybe it'll reset things. Against my instincts, I went. The house alone should have warned me. Oversized, newly built, a suburban mansion made of cheap materials pretending to be luxury. They had no business living there. Arthur was in peak form. He threw his arm around me, dragging me from group to group. This is my daughter, he announced proudly. The data genius. She's got her own company. My mother hovered, pressing wine into my hand, asking about investors, nodding intensely. It was the most attention they'd given me in years, and I hated myself for the small spark of hope it lit. After dinner, Arthur made his move. The old family laptop, he said, suddenly frantic. It's got the slideshow for your mom. All her baby pictures. It froze. Won't connect. My mother clutched her chest, devastated. Oh, Arthur. He turned to me, eyes wide. You're the tech wizard. Can you fix it? For your mom? It was perfect social engineering. Public. Emotional. Impossible to refuse. Sure, I said. I sat at the dusty laptop in his office. Ancient. Barely alive. Looks like the network driver's corrupted, I said. I'll need to download a new one. I spent 20 minutes on that machine. Logged into my personal email. Logged into my company's cloud drive. Typed passwords. Approved authentications. I was just Alara, the good daughter, fixing a computer. Saving memories. I didn't know they'd installed a keylogger. I didn't know they were watching me steal myself. The hope I felt that night didn't survive the morning. 80 a.m. My phone exploded with alerts. Not one but many. Groggy, I opened my banking app, expecting a coffee charge. Instead, I saw my business balance. My stomach dropped. 97. The day before. It held 92. Oh, I told myself it was a glitch. Closed the app. Reopened it. Same number. My heart began pounding. Heavy and fast. I scrolled. 8 massive transfers. Between 2 and a.m. authorized from an unknown device. Still in my pajamas. Hands shaking so badly I put the phone on speaker. I called the bank's fraud department. While on hold, my eyes drifted to the dark laptop sitting on the desk. When the representative answered, hope died quickly. Yes, Miss Alara, she said calmly. The transfers were authorized using your correct password and two-factor authentication. The IP address matches your current location. Cold spread through my body. Where did the money go? I asked, already knowing. Several new accounts. The largest transfer was to an account under the name Arthur. I ended the call. My father. My own father. The party. The praise. The slideshow. The performance. It wasn't chaos. It was a plan. A coordinated, deliberate theft using my own profession against me. And something inside me went still. This wasn't desperation. It was entitlement. In his mind, my success wasn't mine. My company wasn't mine. That money wasn't mine. It was his retirement fund. A family tax. A resource he felt entitled to claim. I wanted to scream, to confront them, to destroy the laptop. But you can't reason with people who see you as a resource. Rage is what they expect. Distraction is how they win. So I went cold. I packed silently. Laptop, charger, overnight bag. I walked past the kitchen where they laughed over breakfast. I didn't say goodbye. I left. At the end of their street. I parked under a tree and made 2 calls. First, Evan. Did Mom and Dad mention coming into money? I asked. Long pause. Yeah. Dad's been bragging about a windfall. They stole my startup fund. $92,000. Oh my God, he whispered. I know you didn't know. I said, and hung up. Then I called my Aunt Valerie, my father's sister, an accountant. All logic, no illusion. She didn't gasp. She sighed. I'll be there in 10 minutes. She said, don't call them. Don't cry. This isn't a family issue. This is felony wire fraud. I have a lawyer. The next 48 hours were pure logistics. No grief. No emotion. Survival mode. We met with a cyber fraud attorney named Hannah. She reviewed everything. This is clean, she said, which is terrible. The keylogger makes it premeditated. Police report. Emergency injunctions. Account freezes. We did it. All. The bank, now dealing with a lawyer and a police report number, moved quickly to freeze me parents' accounts. But it was already too late. Of the 92,000, most of it was gone. Vanished. Cashed out. Moved to accounts we called time immediately trace. Only about 1,200 remained. And then, as if on cue, feedbacks from my parents started. My phone, which had been silent, lit up. The first tone was from my mother. Brenda, you left without saying goodbye. That was very rude. Your father and I are worried. I stared at the message. Worried? Not we're sorry. Not what's wrong. Then an hour later from my father. A long rambling text. You need to call us now. Your mother is hysterical. I don't know what you think you are doing, but you are overreacting. You're going to ruin a big opportunity for this family. This is not how we handle things. I felt a cold heart caught tighten in my stomach. They weren't sorry. They weren't even pretending to be sorry. They were just angry. I'd locked them out. They were angry. The resource had fought back. It didn't reply to either of them. The real bomb, the one that changed everything, didn't come from my lawyer. It came from Aunt Valerie. While my attorney was tracing the wire transfers, my call had planted a seed of pure terror in my aunt. She was an accountant, meticulous and organized. She managed to get her own retirement fund, but she had let Arthur, her charismatic brother, advise her on some investments. Panicked by what he had done to me, she spent all of Monday doing a deep forensic audit of her own portfolio. She called me Monday night. Her voice wasn't sad. It was shallow, she said, and I heard her take a shaky breath. He lost it. He lost all of it. What do you mean? All of what? My retirement, she said. Her voice cracked. 30000. He'd been managing a portion of it, convinced me he had an in on some new tech venture. But it wasn't real. He gambled it away. All of it over the last year. I sat down, the phone feeling heavy in my hand. He wasn't stealing your 92 for a new opportunity, she said, her voice breaking into a bitter sob. He wasting it to try and pay me back. He was robbing his daughter to cover up the fact that he'd already robbed his sister. He was trying to plug one hole in the dam with water from another. It was a betrayal so pathetic and so profoundly stupid. I couldn't even process it. This wasn't a single act of theft. It was a complete financial implosion. He had ruined Haisound's sister and his solution was to ruin his own daughter. We didn't give them a warning. There was no "we need to talk" text. This was past talking. The next morning, I pulled up to that oversized particle board palace. But I wasn't alone. Melier, Hannah was in the passenger seat, a leather portfolio on her lap. In the car behind us was Aunt Valerie and parked discreetly down the street. Waiting for our signal was a Travis County Sheriff's deputy. My hand was steady as I rang the bell. The adrenaline wasn't fear. It was focus. It was the same feeling I got right before a massive data model finished compiling. I was just waiting for the result. My father Arthur opened the door. His face flickered with surprise, then settled into that practiced charming smile. Ella, we were so worried. You just vanished. And who's this? This is Hannah, I said, my voice flat. My attorney. And that, I said, nodding to the car pulling up. Is your sister? His smile didn't just falter. It inverted. An attorney. What is this? Me mother, Brenda, appeared behind him, wiping her hands on an apron. Her eyes darted from my face to the stern-looking woman beside me, to Aunt Valerie getting out of her car. May we come in? Arthur Valerie asked. Her voice was pure ice. It wasn't a question. We stood in the living room, the one with the 70-inch van, the furniture that still had the showroom tags on it. The air was thick and sour. My father ever. The showman tried to take control. He let out a short, scoffing laugh. Okay. I get it. You're upset. You brought a lawyer and you brought the cops. He gestured to the window where the deputy was now visible, walking up the driveway. Ella, this is embarrassing. You're making a scene. My mother chimed in, her voice quivering. With practice at indigent, airing our dirty laundry for the whole neighborhood to see after everything we've done for you. Embarrassing. I repeated. You think this is embarrassing? My father puffed out his chest, falling back on his usual bluster. It was a loan, Era, a simple family loan. You're going to drag your own father to court over a loan. Who do you think the family is going to believe me? Or the ungrateful daughter who abandoned us? He was still playing the part. He still thought he was in control. He thought this was the same old emotional drama he'd always won. Hannah Milliver stepped forward. She opened her portfolio. Mr. Arthur, she said, her voice cutting through the room. This isn't a family dispute. This is a formal demand for the immediate return of 92. Oh, it's a misunderstanding, he snapped. Obtained through felony wire fraud, Hannah continued, not missing a beat. Via a keylogger you installed on that laptop, she pointed to the old Devicestal sitting on his desk. We have the logs, we have the transfer records, and we have the police report. My father's face pulled. The word kilo logger hit him like a physical slap. The blood drained from his face, leaving his fake tan looking yellow and sick. He stammered, That's a lie. You can't prove that. I can, I said, speaking for the first time. But it was Aunt Valerie who delivered the checkmate. She had been standing silently by the door, her face a mask of cold fury. She took one step into the room, and all the air left with it. Was it alone too, Arthur? She asked, her voice quiet, but it echoed louder than a scream. My father flinched. Valor, this doesn't concern you. It doesn't. She shot back. Was my $300,000 alone. 2. My retirement. The money you lost. The money you gambled away on that fake venture. The money you were trying to replace by stealing her seed fund. My father's jaw went slack. He looked like been shot. But the worst part was me mother. Her head snapped toward him, her eyes wide with a new genuine nor. What? 300,000, Arthur? What is she talking about? He had never told her in that single second. His entire world off lease, the successful business, the big opportunity, the image of the provider, it all collapsed in on itself. He was just a pathetic aging con man exposed in his own living room. He had no charm left, no bluster, no escape route. He just stood there, mute as his wife and his sister stared at him, finally seeing through him. That was the moment the sheriff's deputy knocked on the open door. "Mr. Arthur," the deputy said, his voice polite but firm, "we have a warrant to collect that laptop as evidence in a financial crimes investigation." My father didn't even look up. He just sank into one of his new unpaid forum cares, a completely broken man. The legal battle was exactly what my lawyer said it would be. Brutal, short, and decisive. My father's confidence, his center charismatic facade, was built on the assumption that we would always play by the unspoken rules of family drama. He was prepared for screaming matches, for tears, for guilt trips. He was not prepared for a cyber fraud attorney and a criminal investigation. The key log evidence was undeniable. The time estimate of my keystrokes matched against wire transfers was a digital smoking gun. Faced with two separate criminal cases, one for felony wire fraud against him and another for theft and financial abuse against his own sister, Aunt Valerie, my father's entire world crumbled. I had no defense. He had no harm. He just had the truth, and it was ugly. He pleaded guilty to avoid a trial. The judgment was swift. The court ordered the immediate forced sale of their oversized, unaffordable house to make both me and Valerie whole. The proceeds were split. I received my full 92,000, and Valerie received what was left of her 300,000. My parents were sentenced to 5 years of probation and mandatory court-ordered financial counseling. The family, as you can imagine, fractured. The news of his dual betrayal, robbing his daughter to hide the fact he robbed his sister, was so shockingly legit, so pathetic that no one could defend him. My brother Evan finally saw the truth. He packed a bag, moved out of that house, and came to stay on my couch. The rest of the extended family, horrified, just went silent. The money was returned, the accounts were balanced, but the relationship was over. About a week after the sentencing, I received a letter. It was the court-mandated apology. I opened it, hoping for I don't even know what. A shred of remorse, an acknowledgement of the violation. What I got was 2 pages of excuses. It was a masterpiece of narcissistic deflection. He blamed the pressure he was under. He blamed the fast-moving tech market. He blamed his desire to provide for my mother. I never once used the word I stole, used. I made a mistake. I overextended and I borrowed. The letter ended with a line that I'll never forget. "I hope one day you'll understand that everything I did for this family." He still didn't get it. He wasn't sorry he did it. He was only and truly, "I'm sorry Faith got caught." I read the letter once, then I folded it and put it in a file labeled closed. That was the day I began the formal process of going no contact. I blocked their numbers. I blocked their mails. I was finally official in. It's been 1 year. I'm standing in a bright open plan office in East Austin. The walls are whiteboards covered in algorithms and code. This is the headquarters of Kepler Data. My company. I used their covered $92,000 to secure a new much-larger round of funding. My investors, seeing the police reports and the court orders, they aren't angry. They were impressed. They said if I could handle that, I could handle anything the market threw at me. We just launched our beta. My new chief financial officer is sitting in the glass office behind me. She's ruthless with a balance sheet and makes all our projections. Her name is Valerie. My aunt and our new intern, Theon, learning to code on the side while managing our community outreach, is a 29-year-old musician named Evan. My brother. We built our own family. One based on respect, not obligation. one built on trust, not theft. We don't talk about Arthur or Brenda. We're too busy building our future. I learned the hardest lesson of my life through this. Letting go of the hope that toxic people will change is the only way to find peace. We're all raised to believe that blood is thicker than water, but that just means it's easier to drown in. Society tells you to forgive, to be the bigger person, but it never tells you that cutting ties, that nuclear option isn't an act of cruelty. It's an act of survival. You are not required to set yourself on fire just to keep other people warm. Have you ever had to choose between your family and your future? Share your story in the comments below. If this resonated with you, please hit that like button and subscribe for more stories about breaking cycles and building a life on your own terms. Remember, you have a right to protect your peace.